Back here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center, joined by North Dakota head coach Mallory Bernhard. Coach, your Fighting North Dakota Hawks are well into this process of early season, just these practices and whatnot. What have you seen so far from this team, and what are you expecting?
Well, I've definitely seen that we have a lot of young players. Mm-hmm. We have 11 freshmen and sophomores, and so we've had 10 practices. We only get 20 more before our first game, and I wish we had about 40.
You do, but the players don't.
They
love games.
They want about 2 more.
Yeah, exactly.
I want a lot more. Yeah, no, we just have a lot to learn. We graduated, 5 players, and they were just veteran players that had been around, and you introduce something and they got it, you move on. Mm-hmm. And now it's just everything we introduce is brand new, and just we got to be able to carry over from day to day, and thus is coaching, thus is sports, and this is what a young team is. And so 10 days in, only 20 to go.
You have a young group here, but how has using the success of last season and the group you do have returning helped this younger group, and how do you kind of blend all the talent you have on this team this year?
We definitely have some talent. Even those returning that have been a part of that are still young, and so I definitely think there's a little bit of young leadership that can kind of teach some of our new freshmen. We have 7 new people to our roster that, hey, these are the expectations, this is where we're at. Even though you're new to the program and you have a ton of things to learn, you got to really dive into it head first, because we don't get to slow down. I mean, you look at what's going on even around here and these other coaches and these other programs, and we have a really good league. Mm-hmm. And nobody's going to hold back because we are 11 freshmen and sophomores young.
Yeah, they don't really care.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care.
They don't feel bad. They're like,
no,
it's okay.
And so, we got to go. We got to really learn what it is like to play Division I basketball, to invest everything you have into it and be a student of the game. And 3 hours in the gym is not enough. Take an extra little bit of time outside the gym to invest in it.
You kind of seems as though this squad, especially last year and in your years as a head coach, you've set the tone with defense. Last year, you were second in this league, field goal percentage, holding teams under 40% on the year, second in steals, almost 10 a game. What is the key for your team in applying that pressure, making opponents uncomfortable, and then how do you use that to convert? I always like to see people be able to create offense with their defense.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're stressing a team concept very, very heavily. I mean, you can look at last year's team and everything we did with that. We were high in rebounding as well. Mm-hmm. We were not a big team. We were arguably one of the smaller teams in the league, but it was discipline in our concepts and in what we do and getting to the right places and just doing the right things consistently. And so I think that's just the emphasis we're having right now. That's where I see the youth is, okay, this is where we get to, this is how we do that. And that's okay. But I think, this year we get a little bit bigger, mm-hmm. which is helpful in maybe the rebounding category. But just the discipline to get to the right spots, to do the right thing, to stay within what our principles are consistently. That's how we do all that.
When you look at then this young team and you've got those freshmen and sophomores and you're still trying to figure everything out, then you have to say, we've got to make a non-conference schedule because I know that I'm going to run the gauntlet of the Summit League. Yep. I've got a Big Sky Summit League challenge in there matched up in January at some point. You're going to go to Wyoming, never an easy place to play, to open. You've got Southern Miss over Thanksgiving. You got Drake at home in mid-December. How did you approach that scheduling side of the house and getting yourselves and thinking, how do I get this team ready for Summit League play?
Not wisely, I don't think. Honestly, and then out of Grand Canyon, who's been mm-hmm. really good in the WAC, out of Eastern Illinois, who's been really good. What am I thinking? I don't know. But I guess, we're going to throw ourselves into the fire early because when we hop into Summit League play, we're getting right into it.
Right.
We're hitting the road going to St. Thomas. We're bringing South Dakota State right at us. Mm-hmm. And so we're not starting easy there, so let's prepare ourselves in the non-conference. And that might have been a little bit crazy with as much youth as we have, but I'll look for the positive side of it, I guess, now because there's no turning back.
Absolutely. You've also got the preseason player of the year in this league on your roster, and that's got to give you some comfort when you look at these young players.
For sure.
Talk to us about Casey, what she brings to the floor. She's so a veteran leader, a veteran player in this league.
For sure.
How is she going to be better than she was a year ago?
You know, Casey is, of course, it's the biggest sigh of relief when you find out Casey's coming back to use her, last year.
Yeah.
Because she does a lot for our team. You know, I think everyone will remember the scoring. Well, she also led our team in assists. And so she's just facilitating and doing a ton of things. And she's a great teammate. She's someone that people want to play with. And so I think that helps, bringing those young ones along, that she's played a lot of minutes, about as many minutes as anyone in Summit League play, and teaching them, what it takes and in the off season. And she's approached everything the right way. She'll tell you. I mean, she won't tell you. I'll tell you. She's probably in the best shape she's ever been in. She's probably stronger than she's ever been, and just taken some of those, strength conditioning, those kinds of things incredibly seriously into another level. And of course, on the basketball side, we're expanding her game. And, what can we do when a team is completely denying you everywhere on the floor? What can we do when, they're sagging back off you a little bit because they're concerned about your mid-range? And we're working on all those little things. And so we do hope she'll take, her game to the next level, but it's about people around her too. We got to have some people step up and do some things, because we'll miss a Claire Orth making those back cuts and Casey dropping a nice little pass off to her. And so those are the things that, we're certainly aware that we have an unbelievable talented player in Casey. But we definitely have some other players that we believe have a lot of talent as well, and we're going to try and set everybody up for some success.
Sounds good.
When you lose some of those crucial pieces of this team, yes, like you said, you still have Casey to build around, but does that change the identity a little bit of how this team wants to play, or is it a consistent, this is how North Dakota plays basketball, and welcome to the system? Or what does that look like for you guys? I
think we're a little bit more molded to what our roster looks like. I mean, there's definitely values that won't change. There's things that are, this is North Dakota basketball, but it might not necessarily be, last year we were small. We started a small lineup, and we go down and we play Omaha, great example, and we have a tough time with Elena Pilkula.
Yeah, no one's going to see her this year. They're a little bit confused.
Thank you.
One of the players that is gone.
Yes, exactly. But, so we were small last year, where I think our post group has developed, and I really think we can utilize that group a little bit more, which is fantastic. So are we going to look the same? Probably not. We'll try and utilize them a little bit more, but we're gonna put players in position that we think that they're going to be the most successful. So I'm not even sure game to game we're going to look the exact same.
Yeah, this North Dakota team comes in 4th in those preseason polls. How do you manage those expectations, especially with such a young roster?
Yeah, I want to know who voted us that high, honestly.
Well, you could take a spin around this room.
Yeah.
And ask a few. No.
I was a little shocked, to be honest, just because of how young we are and how many players we lost. I think it's a sign of great respect.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome. How do we manage expectations? I think we talk to our team and say, you know what, this league, you're not sneaking up on anybody. 2 years ago, we could sneak up on people. No one thought we could do a whole lot of anything. Well, that's not the case. And again, like where we started this whole conversation, it doesn't matter that we're young. They don't care. If we were voted above or right around, we have expectations now.
You were 13-1 at home, and I know how important that is. And we start thinking about rivalries and all of what the Summit League is about. Not allowing people to come in and steal wins on the road is incredibly important. But just when you think about the culture around and your fan base and everything that surrounds North Dakota women's basketball, that's got to be a pretty darn good feeling for someone you're like yourself, the first women's basketball alum to lead your program in the history of what North Dakota has done.
Yeah, playing at home in the Betty in front of our fans is fantastic. And we had a great year last year at home. I wish I could promise our fans we were going to do that every year, but again, look what I did to our schedule. But no, we love it. We love playing at the Betty. We think we have a great home court advantage, and it is because of our fans and the energy they inject in the building and just the feeling that we have. And of course, I take a lot of pride in that. I make sure that our team understands that people in Grand Forks, they care about women's basketball. You don't walk around Grand Forks without someone not noticing you. We're going to go to the grocery store and ask how practice is going or a great game, whatever it might be. And that's an honor. Yeah. That's something that is pretty special. Women's basketball is incredibly important in our community, and we want to keep it that way. And so it's our job to, let's get a new fan, let's get a new young girl come to our game and get her begging to come back another time. And so we do take a lot of pride in that.
That's fantastic.
Coach, last question before we wrap things up. What does success look like to you this season?
You know, I'm not even sure I've got that defined yet, to be honest with you. I think just as young as we are, I'm still really searching for that. Give me like 2 more weeks.
Okay,
And,
we'll call you back up.
Yeah, do. No, I
That's what Jory said about NDSU. So he said he needed a couple more weeks of
I
practice.
do. I
too.
just we just have so much to be determined still. I'm just looking for our team to get better and better every single day. Honestly, I can't even think about playing a game right now because I'm worried about what our defensive concepts look like. So we'll get there. Obviously, I'll tell you, we haven't come down here on this floor and done real well. So I'll say that I want to come in here and leave here at least one night with a smile on my face. I haven't done that yet. So that would be awesome. Before you guys let me go, I got to say, you guys really did your homework. I'm impressed.
Well, there you go. Not hard. I mean, there's a lot of
No,
good
you
content.
guys
It's
are
a great
awesome.
place to be.
This was good.
Good league. Good league. So
Absolutely. Well, Coach,
Yes.
thank you so much for the time. Next, we'll bring up Casey Baravich to talk about preseason player of the year and
Yes.
much, much more. Coach, thank you so much. Best of luck this season.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Yeah,
Coach.
thank you.